Hey guys, it's Will. So, what if I told you that one of your favorite stocks popped over 20% today at market open? Well, while CTM slightly dipped and we look at the recent push up with Big Bear and then selling back down, we're looking at maybe an explosive start and this subtle pullback could mean some big moves in the near term. Let's break it down. So, first things first, Big Bear AI. We were looking at the change in LLM, large language model AIs, and then you have CTM stock. So again, Big Bear shot up to about 437, and then CTM was starting the day here green and then sold off here about 4%. As we're looking at CTM stock, there's a few things to consider. It started this trend here where we've seen it start to maybe make this full recovery up into this $1.70 range, starting to now trend upward and hold above the EMA. And recently it did have a slight pullback today, about 4.6%, but nothing too crazy. It's still holding above that 200-day moving average, and ultimately we're looking for maybe a recovery into this range. For those of you guys that aren't familiar, CTM stock from a full breakdown perspective is going to be one of the main defense companies that's holding small market cap. So they have a couple $1 million in revenue per quarter, think around 10 or 11 million, and they are signing contracts that are in the hundreds of millions of dollars for their stock. However, it's in processing large amounts of data for government agencies. But they just reported earnings on the 9th, and they came in pretty good with their earnings, and we saw them slightly push up there. Okay, so what we're looking at is a company that's having some good results financially, getting some good contracts, and their market cap, again, it's just 100 million, under 100 million, but they have over 100 million dollars in contracts. So really, really good market cap to contract ratio. And you start to see this is really the move we've been watching. It's starting to push up. It's already surged quite a bit there. As you can see, it pushed up from about 85 cents up to $1. Now, yesterday we made a video on Big Bear AI and how we saw that it could break out, and that's exactly what it did. I think we have no drawings on it just now, but guess what? We're up 700%. How many of you guys would like to be up 700% on a position? Or what about 100%? And just a friendly reminder, how many of you guys love to see Big Bear shoot up like it's doing right now? Well, do you think it's going to continue to run? Because if so, you can get StockMate for free. If BBAI stock hits $5.50 per share by May 20th, then StockMate is free. That's right. When you enroll in StockMate, you get this full daily live trading, and you can join us in our market open sessions. But guess what? If Big Bear AI hits that target, you get StockMate absolutely free, full refund, because I have some calls on the stock. So that sale's ending. If you want to take advantage of it, it's just today only, and it's the second link down below. We're up 700% on our Big Bear AI $5.50 call. This is a call that we placed a few days ago in order to capitalize on what we saw as a breakout here for Big Bear AI. If you take a look at the recent moves, they've had this surgence where they broke up above the resistance, and this recent trend started to develop. They were really consolidating from left to right. You can see some really strong support levels in this range, and then you had really strong support levels or resistance levels, excuse me, right around here. You see this resistance, and a resistance again. And we saw it push up to that resistance yesterday, and we're saying, wow, if it breaks up above here, this could be a really nice push, maybe even finding support there. And the hyperbull case would be starting to see this run happen up into these levels, which would be up in that $5 to $7 range that we've been targeting with Big Bear for a while. So Big Bear's got partnerships with Palantir. They have Department of Defense contracts, $160 million contract with Army. They have the scanners, the facial scanners at the airport. And so what we're looking at here for money or profit potential is the bounce here and the continuation up into this range. So we have some calls, and part of why we have some bold calls there is not only that I think this move could happen, And it's funny, yesterday we were talking and people were like, Will, you really think $5.50 price target for BigBear AI could make sense? And I'm like, well, how many of you guys could see a push up into this level and then a breakout? If they're working with Palantir, they're starting to get contracts. They came in with better earnings recently. I'm seeing a lot of potential there for them to become a $5 to $7 stock, and it's not going to happen slow with the recent trade deals coming in pretty well received by the investors. So I'm saying, yeah, this is kind of the time we make the move. And as a result, BigBear AI is starting to surge. We saw it push up 20% to 437 today. On top of that, BigBear AI, as we start to see it maybe hold this support here and have this continuation up, one thing to consider about the company that we talked about a little bit, but we didn't really dive deep into it, which is, they have the drone swarms, they have the Denver International Airport or Heathrow Airport, the facial scanning. They even got this new trade and logistics for Panama Canal, and they're working with the Department of Defense, the Pentagon, and you can see that, right? That's something that we focus on, and part of the reason why most of the reason why people invest is because their CEO, Secretary of Defense, former Secretary of Defense, has connections with Border Patrol, has connections with the Homeland Security, with the TSA, with the Pentagon even, and they're doing like this in this case Panama. They're kind of monitoring the ports is what, to my understanding, is what it is. But one thing that we don't talk about is their healthcare, and I think this is kind of a big deal because if you think about healthcare, this is why. Let me just verify that I'm not saying wrong information, but Palantir recently partnered with Boston Hospital, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. They partnered with a hospital. I want to say it was Boston Hospital or Tampa General, maybe. And it was like, a couple $100 million partnership. They got the Cleveland Clinic. Okay, you can see some of the hospitals they partner with. You might say AI company, defense company. Why would they partner with hospitals? Like, what's going on there? Well, the reason that they're partnering with these hospitals is because they're able to do some things that this is what BigBear AI is doing as well, which is, imagine you have all of these people that are scheduling to have some crazy surgery and they need a specialist because it's like a very like dynamic thing and only a specific person can deal with it. Or there's a lot of patient inflow or outflow and there's a certain number of beds, or how volatile maybe doctors have different schedules and sometimes they can make it, sometimes they can't make it, but you have all these different variations of different patients that come in that need different specialists. And you can just imagine when you have a huge hospital, how much effort and work and thinking from humans goes into trying to figure out, are we matching the right specialist with the right patient? Are we scheduling them at a time when the doctor is available? And the doctor will actually show up. Is this person has this problem, getting the perfect surgeon for that thing that they're dealing with? And they specialize in powerful AI-powered decision intelligence solutions to optimize, in this case, hospital patient flow. So scheduling or bed management, you have facility design, you have staffing requirements, future planning. And I think that's actually something that could be really huge for the companies to be able to optimize different big organizations that have a lot of people and humans. Like, that's why they're working with Denver International Airport. If you look at the reason why, I mean, imagine being a TSA agent and you want people to make their flights, but like imagine trying to go through and figure out that this person is a threat, this person isn't a threat, and being able to do the background check or really look at all the profiles or identify different groups of people that are coming in and out of the airport or things like that to identify different threats. That's really hard for a human to do. There's so many variables and they got to do it 24/7. Whereas you look at BigBear AI And BigBear AI, they partnered with Denver International Airport, which I was able to actually see firsthand that scanner on my face. So I find there's three things we look at when identifying good deals, right? We look at the markets, we look at the so the market is how fast it's growing, the revenue, the profits, which in this case, BigBear AI is looking good. And then we look at the usage. Is it actually being used? Is it, aside from the markets growing, are they actually seeing real world usage where we could physically see or really see that the product's being used? And then the second piece of that is to go to the analysis stage, which is the financials. Are those adding up? Which in this case, the financials are improving year over year. Net income's up 51% year over year. The revenue's up 5% year over year. So the financials look good. Then we look at the news, and overall the news has been really good for BigBear AI. They've been getting partnerships. They're working in the right parts of the market in the sector, but also sometimes they do have these things where they got investor or lawsuits saying, have you lost money with BigBear? Contact us now and you might be entitled to money, right? Because they do have, like most companies, there are like different hype articles and also things trying to drive the stock down. Like there's a lawsuit and blah, blah, blah. Like that always is going to happen. So we try and go directly to the source for most info. And then from news, we go to number 3, which is the chart. And the chart is looking like it just recently broke out today. It sold back down. It's at the support. And we could simply look at, previous trends and simply look, previous resistance right here will act as support in a bull market. So the part that you're looking at and you're like, oh, they've been consolidating from left to right, that previous resistance will act as a support. And it happens time and time again. In fact, it's a very strong way to identify a trend is to look at the resistance levels. Like here's a resistance. It's acting as a support when it breaks out. And that's, very common in a bull market. Very, very common in a bull market. Here's a resistance right here, and when it broke out above, acted as a support again. And it's always in a trend, the previous resistance will most likely, people say higher highs, higher lows. Yeah, there's that. But it's also like the actual pattern is that the previous resistance will act as a support in a bull market. And in a bear market, the opposite is true, right? Now you have this previous support acts as a resistance. And you could find a support right here, pretty clearly identified support right here. Boom, boom, boom. That support level. Then that was acting then at a resistance. It couldn't hold above. Shoots up, and that's what happens. So, it's very common to look at the charts, and that's why we use them. And right now it just broke up above this previous resistance. And now kind of the thought here is this level at which it just broke out from is now going to act as a support. That's the bull case for BigBear AI. So that's kind of what we look at. And then the third step is the profit margins, the potential for profit. When we're looking at BigBear AI, just kind of like when we enter trades, like we just got into a trade this morning. I'm not sure how it's doing at the moment. We just entered this, but we get in, and all we could do really is follow our plan. That's all we could do. So we got into this trade, SOXS. It was way overextended, and we ended up buying in here at market open here, somewhere right here. Let's see. Let me get it down 30-second. There you go. And let me make sure that it's showing up. And I'll just give you this. This will tie together. But basically, we're looking at this trade this morning, and the reason we were looking at it was because of the margins. It's like once we get into a trade, we want all the things stacked in our favor, the support, the resistance. We want to look at the financials, the news. We want to look at the market, make sure we're in a good sector. In this case, we're in AI and defense with BigBear AI. But then on top of that, we want to also make sure that all those things could be perfect. And you might say, well, if you know all that, where's the top? Where's the bottom? That is something that I can't determine because the market moves how it moves. But what we can determine is putting all this probabilities in our favor And then once we enter the trade, whether it's at a top, you could buy at a top. It's a little more risky, obviously, because that means the chart's not mapping out to be in your favor. But ultimately, whether you buy at a top or you buy at the bottom, you're going to have a plan in place. And so we set a plan and we execute the plan with a stop loss that's in favor and a take profit that is much greater than that of our stop loss. And that's essentially how we go through the process in trading. And so the reason I tell you guys that is, we're just doing it this morning. It's taking some patience. This trade this morning is just kind of moving. In fact, it's a short of the semiconductor market. So I don't know if you guys know. Anyway, we don't have to get into it, but AMD spiked 20% or something this morning up to $122, which is huge. Our long-term portfolio is great, and I'm waking up. I'm studying the market, and I get into the live session with our stock mates this morning, and everybody's like, good morning, wow, it's green, look at the market. And what do most people do? They look at the green, and not our stock mates, but most people, they look at the green and they get excited and they buy because it's green, it's going up. But what happens? What do most people do? Most people don't get growth. Most people don't find profits. And the reason why is because I don't get excited when it's green. I actually get excited when it's red. Red gets me excited. I'm like, let's go. And same thing, Warren Buffett says, buy when there's blood in the streets. And so that's what we're saying here. So essentially, with BigBear AI, the reason that we could still be bullish, even though it shot up big today, and at one point it was up to 437, is because it's possible that this zone right here, it's not a perfect, exact price for price resistance. We place some calls, they're up. And the reason we place the calls too is not just so that we can maybe have some money, but also because we're running a sale for stockmates. So we trade live every morning at market open. And if I'm going to win big, I want you guys to win big too. So I have this call for BigBear AI. For those of you that go through the link in the description of this video, go to Stockmates. You can look at lifetime access. If you want to join us every single day at Monday through Friday market open sessions, and you can see our daily live trading. Now is a chance where if BigBear AI hits $5.50 by May 20th, so in a week and a half, then I'm giving away Stockmate for free. That's right. You get Stockmate for free if you enroll today, because of this bet that I have. And in fact, if it goes well and it really does happen, and it continues out the way it's going, then we will see that sale be something that I would be ecstatic that our call options did very well. And as a result, terms apply. They are just for this current sale right now. So make sure to check the link and then go to the bottom of the page. There's some terms there. But essentially, if you buy Stockmates and it does hit that $5.50 price point there by May 20th, 2025, then you will get Stockmate for free. You get a full refund. So if you've ever wanted to do live trading, learn the technicals, the fundamentals, and some of the analysis that we go through on every AI company, the quantum stocks, and also the space companies, then I would encourage you, simply take a look. There's data centers we're looking at right now, and those are all the companies we focus on. So again, if you want to be there, second link in the description below, and that's the sale we're running for BigBear. Thanks so much for watching. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. And again, thanks so much, guys. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. That's amazing. And everything that we're doing here is because of you guys. So I appreciate you all. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.